Hey folks, it's Sam, and I'm here in San Diego, 1:30 p.m. on May 18th, and I'm talking about the shift into the Taurus cycle that we're now experiencing here. You see, the sun has just gone into Taurus. This is a chart for May 19th. We're going to have the new moon in Taurus on May 19th, which is tomorrow, but we see the sun has already shifted. And so there's this big shift, this big move into the Taurus energy. And we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to this next 30 days or so and this Taurus cycle that is ahead of us. So we're going to go over that. And you see these 5 keys outlined. So check this out. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell on YouTube to get notified of new videos and live streams. Also, leave a comment, share it with others on Facebook, Twitter, or other social media platforms. Yes, please do that. A lot of people watch these videos, and many of you are not subscribers. So if you are watching this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, because I do these updates a couple times a week to keep you current. And again, when you do share it with others, then the channel grows and more people get to see it. So we have this Taurus cycle. As you see, I'll go back to this other slide. We just had the sun in Aries. We had an eclipse in Aries. Of course, it was also with Jupiter, with Rahu, the North Node, all kinds of Aries energy. And as you see here, we're at 4 degrees. The sun is at 4 degrees. That'll be tomorrow. But the sun just recently went into Taurus, again, like 2 or 3 days ago. And that means the shift from Aries to Taurus is very important. And then we have this new moon, which is happening on May 19th. Now, the new moon is when the sun and moon both come together, and that initiates a 30-day cycle. It's like the sperm meeting the egg. The sperm is like the sun, and the egg is like the moon. And it's like a 30-day gestation cycle each year. So we have 12 of these each year. And this new moon to new moon cycle is why we have 12 zodiac signs, 12 months in the year. Again, this is where the 12 comes from. There are 12 lunation signs each year. And of course, we measure the planetary movements by the sky itself, what we would call the sidereal sky. But it just literally means the sky itself, not the seasons or the calendar. Because when we look up in the sky, we see the planets against the backdrop of the sky, which is not movable. That's called the Nirayana chakra, or the circle without the ayana, or without the calendar added. So in Vedic astrology, we use this what you would call zodiac, but there's really only one was the zodiac, which is the sky is the zodiac, and the tropical circle, which they use in Western astrology, is not really a zodiac, it's a calendar, which it is the calendar because it measures seasons, not the sky or the planets moving through the sky. They're separate things. So again, if you follow Western astrology, you might be thinking, I thought the new moon was in Gemini. Actually, I think it is still Taurus here because of the Ayanamsha. But many times it's off. But when you look up in the sky, you're going to see the constellation of Taurus behind the sun and the moon. So the sun moved into that section of sky called Taurus, or Vrishabha in Sanskrit. And so again, we're in this cycle for the next 30 days of this Taurus energy from Aries to Taurus. So this is where that initiating quality of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, has this nature of, again, initiation, identity, individuality, literally even like being born. We're born into the world, like, here I am, I'm me, I'm a little baby screaming, take care of me, I'm here. But then we're born into that family unit. You're even literally born into a family unit. That family unit is related to Taurus energy, where it's cared for, where it's nurtured, where it's fed. So Taurus has all these qualities of things like food, family, connection, values. On a deeper level, it's not just that we're fed food to sustain our body, but we're fed, more importantly, values. that family you were born into, which you didn't choose, had a value system. Even if the value system was hardly any value system, which, by the way, that's the way mine was. There was no religion or anything like that. It was just, it was just, sort of you're on your own, which is also a value system with, the sort of lack of values, you might say. But either way, we're all kind of born into this environment, and we get values put into us when we're born, but then we become an individual. Even within the value system, we have our own interests and curiosities that we explore, which is the Gemini cycle. Then those things feel a certain way to us in Cancer. Then we set out and express ourselves in Leo. So the zodiac itself is like a timeline of life on Earth, right? We started with the Aries last month, which is now, you're born, which, by the way, came after Pisces, which is you're in the womb, and you have these past lives, and you have this gestation cycle in Pisces. Then you're born into the world in Aries. Then you're born into a unit, which has values and all of that in Taurus. That's where we are now. So again, that family structure is very important. Obviously, because you wouldn't be here without the family you were born into, regardless of how badly or well they did their job. You're here. So you made it. You made it this far. But then you take those values and you build upon them and you create your own sort of family. Again, and that can be very untraditional. It doesn't have to mean that you have kids and get married, but you create a family around you, like a spiritual soul family based on your values that you were born with, and then your evolving and individuality within that value system. So we're always evolving and creating ourselves on higher levels. So that's really kind of where we're at right now with the Aries moving into the Taurus cycle. And in fact, it's very in reference to this Taurus energy and all these values and this family. I'm actually doing a course right now on family Vedic astrology, and it's very powerful and important to understand our family karmas. And so check this out, this quick overview. I want to tell you about an upcoming course on Vedic astrology and family karma. All family roles will be dissected looking at planet signs, houses, nakshatras. It's June 10th and 11th, and I'm going to really be showing how this deep examination can help you unravel your history and family karmas. There's some great bonuses if you join now, and you can go to familyvedicastrology.com. More than 12 hours of classes, and a deeply discounted price right now. So I initially was going to have that course next weekend. That would be the weekend of the 24th. What is that? The 27th and 28th. But it's a holiday, so I'm actually doing it in early June. But check that out. It's going to be great because all of everything that you think you're doing or that is so much your nature, it really came from the family you were born into, and understanding those roles, like the relationship you had with your father is very connected to the sun. You see it play out in areas like the 10th house and the career. You are looking for him and his authority and his influence to give you the capacity that the sun refers to, which, for example, is the ability to stay on course even when you don't feel like it anymore, right? That duty, responsibility, and that benefits us most in our career, for example. Those qualities of the heart and really connecting to transcendent devotional love, not just emotions and getting all worked up and amped up, really came initially from your mom. You were looking for the mom to be that anchor and to give that emotional style. And whether you recognize it or not, you really picked up that on a very deep level from your mom, and you carry that forward in your life. So again, not just archetypally between sun and moon and understanding these things, but also specifically in your chart for you to understand how your deeply patterned and programmed responses and benefits in career, in relationships, in spiritual devotion and all of that really comes from all of the planets, and from your family history and legacy. So it's going to be a great course to help us understand those things, and I look forward to teaching that. But let's get to the 5 keys to the next 30 days that we are talking about now, because again, the next 30 days really refers to the next 30 days of this Taurus cycle, which really, as I say, began sort of a couple days ago when the sun moved into Taurus, but especially since we have this new moon coming up on the 19th, that's really the initiation of that cycle. So again, the 5 keys to the Taurus energy, this one in particular, first of all, is slow down, because Taurus really is that quality of wanting to take things slow. Again, Aries is like fast and let's do it now, and I'm the important one, and really sort of going it alone. Taurus is like, you're not alone. You have a family structure. Again, and I'm not just talking about your birth family, I'm talking about the people around you who value you, who you value. And again, it's also a time to slow down and appreciate them, let them appreciate you. Again, the kind of slow down and smell the roses kind of thing, is very much about Taurus, the power of Taurus. Those who, again, really feel like they naturally sort of go it alone and whatnot, can often have, struggles in the Taurus area of life, because they feel like they're they're the strong one, or they're the powerful one. And especially like if people are too comfortable dominating others, maybe they don't mean to do it, but, sort of getting through as being the strong one and the powerful one, which again is very much the Aries energy, a bit in detriment. Taurus is about slow down, take it slow. And within that, it's also be patient. Again, it's very similar, but different. When we start to take it slow, it also means that we're going to be more patient naturally. And that's one of the ways that we have to take it slow. When you're not in such a hurry to get to the next thing, you naturally develop more patience. Like, wait a minute, I don't need to react to things. I don't need to react to every challenge, every obstacle placed in front of me. Maybe I can slow down and ponder this a little bit first and measure whether or not it's valuable enough to put all of my attention and energy into. So again, values are a huge theme with Taurus. What are your real values? What do you value the most? And are you giving the value that you want to get? We all notice when we're not getting the thing we want, but that's usually because we're not giving the thing we want to get in return. Are you giving the thing that you are expecting to receive? And how well is that equation? Maybe the things you're giving aren't in alignment with your values. That's why you're not trying to give them. Or maybe that's not why you're giving them as much as you should. So you have to calibrate the things that you are expecting to receive relative to what you're authentically giving. And that relates to the third one: enjoy but don't indulge. Again, choose slowly. You could see these themes because Taurus is about enjoyment, but not indulgence. And we can get stuck in the indulgent quality of Taurus energy, where instead of just enjoying smelling the roses, we do that at the expense of everything else, of growth and of things that are of higher value rather than just pleasure in the moment. We can get very stuck in Taurus energy as well. And it's often the areas of life where we are stuck. Because, again, think of how stuck we are with the values of the past. Again, we may be very stuck in that family dynamic, the family dynamic that we came from. We may feel very stuck in that rather than being able to move beyond just the parts of the value system we were raised in that doesn't serve us any longer, and building upon that authentically. So again, enjoy the things in your life, but don't indulge so much that you stay stuck in those elements of the past that you need to let go of. And one of the main ways we do that is by clarifying our desires. And instead of being driven just by desire, connect to the heart. So again, this can also relate to what's called devotion and integrating the opposite sign of Scorpio, which is about transformation of our emotional desires and emotional attachments. So clarify what's motivating you just because of your desire to experience pleasure and happiness in the moment. And instead, connect to the heart, which is much deeper than just the desires which are on the surface. Desires have a lot to do with Venus. It's Venus energy. And again, Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So all the things I'm saying really connect with that, with the higher quality of Venus, not just the lower quality. But first we have to slow down and connect with the power of Venus, which again is to be more patient, to enjoy but not indulge. Because when we're indulging in Venus energy, we're just wanting to extract pleasure and possess it, rather than connect to transformational beauty, which is more anchored in the heart, not in the physical pleasure of the world. So rather than, and the thing that makes us stay stuck in Taurus energy is when we're just motivated by desire. If we're just motivated by the desire to enjoy life and to be happy in the moment, then it becomes indulgent. For example, I mean, one of the easiest ones with Taurus is food. Very much related to food, because again, we have to think about this. It's very easy, but it's also so obvious that we're like, well, duh, of course. The reason people get into what's called emotional eating or whatever is not necessarily because of the comfort part. I think people make too much out of the, well, because it's related to mother and all this. I think it's more about pleasure. Because when we're sad or depressed or unhappy emotionally, we know that the easiest way to change that state of mind from emotionally unhappy to at least feeling pleasure in the moment, because pleasure is related to the body. Depression or sadness is related to the emotions, but it's easy to mix them up or to feel like pleasure is actually happiness. It is happiness in the moment. So I know that if I'm depressed or sad right now or lonely, I can feel at least pleasure or happiness in the moment by eating food that is going to taste good. Again, has maybe no nutritional value at all, but eat some chips or ice cream or cookies or something that is going to, and while I'm eating it, I'm going to be experiencing what might seem like happiness, and it is happiness in the moment. Happiness through the body is pleasure. But pleasure does not lead to happiness, because pleasure is going to please the body, but it's not going to make us happy, which is an emotion. And when we connect with more emotional happiness, there's less need for physical pleasure. So pleasure is very physical and tamasic in nature. It's how Venus comes through the body. And that can mean all kinds of things: sexuality, indulging in that when we're by ourselves, for example, and also physical pleasure in the moment, because we think it's going to be, because it's a counterfeit version of happiness. But then there's the next level, even beyond emotional happiness with Venus, which is devotion to transcendent beauty, beauty itself. Because what we're trying to connect to through happiness is beauty. What we're trying to connect through pleasure is happiness. We're trying to find happiness through pleasure. We're trying to find beauty through happiness. And thinking, this person makes me happy, it's connecting me to transcendent beauty. but it's really not, because transcendent beauty and devotion is not connected to another person or any outer experience. So this is, and it's in Taurus, it gets very, we can get very stuck in this kind of cycle. And so this is very much a higher evolutionary process. This is why clarify your desires is very important, because what is the desire, right? And this moon is exalted. I'll go back to this other slide. You see the moon, this new moon is in Kritika Nakshatra, where the moon is exalted. And it's exalted in Kritika because it's where the clarity and the fire of the god Agni transforms and purifies our desires. So the nakshatra of Kritika is related to literally like a fire ceremony, what we would call a homa or a fire ceremony in Indian religion or Hinduism. You think of the priest throwing food into the fire. They're not throwing, I mean, some of it, they start the fire with things like grass and wood, but then as they're making the offerings, they're putting food into it, seeds, sometimes, obviously oil that you eat. It's stuff that you eat. All kinds of food offerings are put into the fire because we're nurturing that flame, and bringing that thing that can be pleasurable is the fuel for the fire that goes up into our conscious mind. And so the fire ceremony itself is a symbol of transforming our desires and purifying our desires for pleasure into something more transcendent. They'll literally put like sweet rice and oil and other things that we could be eating into the fire. And it's a very powerful symbol of how we need to transform our desires, our desire for pleasure, into devotion. So you connect to the heart rather than just the emotions on the surface, which comes from desires. Because emotions come from desires. You have a desire for something and it generates an emotion, a desire that this thing is going to make me happy. So that generates an emotion. And then the emotions are happy and sad, good and bad. I got it. I'm happy right now. I'm eating the ice cream, so I'm happy right now. Now the ice cream is gone. Now I feel bloated. I'm not happy now. I was happy for 5 minutes. Now I'm sad for 5 hours, right? And it's not a good trade-off. It generates emotion. Desire generates emotion. But deeper than that is devotion. When we bring that internally and we bring that back to the source, we're not looking externally for that. And then again, the highest value of Taurus and the highest values are anchored in the transcendent power and the spirituality, not in the not in the stimulated external experience. So again, this is a very powerful alchemy that happens in Taurus, where we need to transform our desires for pleasure into devotion. And so again, it says clarify your desires, connect with the heart, and clarify your values. What is worth keeping and what needs to be let go of. Very similar, but different. And again, this clarify is coming from this nature of Agni, who is the ruler of Kritika Nakshatra, where the moon is exalted. But this is one of the interesting things, is that the most important fuel for the fire is also called clarified butter or ghee, where the butter is clarified and boiled and reduced to its purest essence. So again, these are some very important themes to look at for the next 30 days when we have this new moon in Taurus, and where we need to, again, really clarify how we are either indulging or trying to possess something in the world that we think is going to, make us happy. And again, one of the biggest themes with Taurus is the connection to our family, the family we were born in, but the family that we need to create, because we are creating the family that we have around us every day. And notice how some of the people from your family that you were born in are still a part of your life, or they're in a part of your life in ways where their values align with your values, but then where their values don't, they're not part of your current family because your values have changed. So this is an ever evolving process. So again, I hope this was helpful for you to hear about these 5 keys to the next 30 days. And again, I am teaching this class on family astrology. I'll leave you with details about that again, and thanks a lot. I want to tell you about an upcoming course on Vedic astrology and family karma. All family roles will be dissected looking at planets, signs, houses, nakshatras. It's June 10th and 11th, and I'm going to really be showing how this deep examination can help you unravel your history and family karmas. There's some great bonuses if you join now, and you can go to familyvedicastrology.com. More than 12 hours of classes and a deeply discounted price. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell on YouTube to get notified of new videos and live streams. Also, leave a comment, share it with others on Facebook. For a limited time, I'm offering 10 hours of masterclasses, Yoga and Vedic Astrology, Quantum Vedic Astrology, and Spiritual Astrology Masterclass. These are 3 great courses that will really help you a lot. Now, in case you don't know who I am, I taught the Astroved certification course, Dattatreya Shiva Baba, in 2010. Ravi Shankar published my book in 2018. I've been around for decades. I've been teaching these great classes, and if you go to VedicAstrologyEssentials.com, you can get this 90% off discount of these 3 great classes, more than 10 hours, guaranteed value. You can check this out. These 3 classes will give you all the necessary tools to begin to learn Vedic astrology. Please find me on YouTube at Sam Jeppy, Vedic Astrology Teacher. On there since 2007, thousands of hours of classes. Also on Facebook at Astrology Teacher, tons of articles updated regularly, and I'm on Instagram at Vedic Astrology 108, ongoing updates and interaction.